and we can start this workshop. So welcome everyone. I'm very glad that you're all here. We are going to do a Software Heritage Deposit Partners Workshop. And I'm not going to introduce all of these beautiful icons here on the first slide. I'm going to ask everyone maybe to turn off their microphones so we can continue. Thank you. And I'm going to say a few words before we start because we have a very packed workshop. And then we can start with the demonstrations. So my name is Moran Greenpeter. I am head of Open Science Operation at Software Heritage. And today we are going to have fun. The Deposit Partners Workshop is something that we are trying to do. Well, it's the first time we open it for a larger crowd, but we have done it last year, and we will try to maintain this ritual. And so welcome to this deposit family. We would love to have your thoughts on our shared Google Doc. So you have the link here in the housekeeping, but Sabrina will put a link in the chat. You can add a question in the chat, but we have a Q&A section on the Google Doc, so you can ask questions and also answer questions that you know the answer to. Again, please be aware that the session is recorded, and if your face is seen on the screen, it will be on the also on the recording. And I would like also to ask you to add yourself to the list of participants so we can track who was here, and it makes that this effort more collaborative. Now, our workshop plan today, we started with some housekeeping. After that, I'm going to give the floor to Jean-François Abramatic, our esteemed guest who is here with us, and tell you about the journey that we have traveled from the SEERS report to the two European projects, Fair Call for EOSC and Fair Impact, even though this workshop is a Fair Call for EOSC workshop. Then we will start our Demomania. Demomania, it will be a very short demonstration of the components and services that were created during Fair Call for EOSC, but not only. We have other also invited speakers. We will do that. I will guide you through it. After each segment by infrastructure type, there will be a short activity. And as always, I like in workshops, because the word workshop means work, to give some activities to our participants so you can join and work. At the end of the demonstration, we will have a time to reflect on the SEERS report realization, some conclusions, and next steps. So that's the workshop plan. If you have questions about the plan, can put it in the chat and I'll see if I can answer that later. And now I would like to invite Jean-François, which is with Software Heritage from the very start as a scientific advisor, and much more than that. Jean-François has played a crucial role within EOSC as part of the executive board and as the architecture working group chair. At the end of 2020, the Executive Board produced a set of recommendations for the implementation of the Horizon Europe program. His career has been shared between research and industry. He started as a research scientist in differential games and digital image processing. As Director of Development and Industrial Relations at INRIA, he launched the European host of the W3C. I can go on and on about Jean-François, but here he is, so I will give him the floor. Please, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Moran. Good morning, everybody. It's a very special pleasure for me to introduce this workshop because, as you all know, open science is a very long-term endeavor for all of us. And in the case of EOSC, it started in the 2015, and in the initial period between 2015 and 2018, the European Commission and research committees and so on tried to figure out how how to implement, well, how to design a vision for the open science for Europe, and then, of course, how to implement it. They chose to get a 2 years period, 2019-2020, where an executive board, which I had the honor to be part of, was put together in order to make the vision a little significantly more concrete and be ready for the Horizon Europe program you are now part of. Okay, so the outcome of this year, of these 2 years of work, is now implemented in what's called the SRIA, the Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda, and this document has been the basis for the Horizon Europe program to get organized and to launch call for tenders, which you guys contributed to through, for example, the FAIRCORE for EOSC project. So the SRIA was at the origin of this effort, and as a good deal of you know, since you were part of the specific work on software, the SRIA as an instantiation in the case of software in the SEARS, the so-called SEARS report, that was developed as a part of the EOSC Architecture Working Group, which Moran mentioned in her introduction. So the idea, the mission for this group, for this task force, was to say, okay, the vision is that articles, scientific articles, data, and software are the three pillars of the research artifacts that are produced by research projects and organizations. So far, articles have been around for centuries. Data have been around for years. And software is now growing as the third pillar, and we need to work about it. And that's the reason for the SEARS report to have been developed. So, so the SEARS report was produced towards the end of 2020. It looked at the state of the art, where are we, and what have we done, and tried to elaborate a few elements moving forwards, look at use cases, and produce a recommendation. It has, as you well know, also defined a very high-level architecture based on the universal software archive that Software Heritage is providing, and addressing the specifics for research through the scholarly repositories, publishers, and aggregators, but we will get into that in the demos later. And and also the vision. So we all know that for data, the FAIR principles have been put forward over the years. In the case of software, it has to be amended, and the 4 dimensions were introduced by the SEARS report. First, we need, of course, to archive the software so that it's available and people can use it in order to reproduce some of the research results. They need to be referenced so that they can be identified. It can make a difference between others, and also the links that they may have in the case of multiple versions of the same software. Credit need to be given to its authors. And of course, the software need to be described in order for search or whatever to be able to find the piece of software that scientists may need at some point if they want to pursue their work. So this is the very high level introduction. I want to conclude this brief introduction by saying, as I said in the introduction, open science is a long-term endeavor. It's here for the foreseeable future. And you're contributing today with the demos to STEP at the beginning of the Horizon Europe. And where I'm looking, I say I was happy to participate. but I will be one more step happier if I see those demos transform into services at the end of the project, so that this become real for all scientists around Europe and the world. So thanks, good luck, keep up with the good work, and let's look at the demos.
Thank you very much, Jean-François. And I'm taking back the hand on the presentation, and we'll tell you a little bit about the journey we have traveled together from the CEERS report to FAIR Co4EOS and FAIR Impact, because there are two sister projects implementing an interoperable community-driven vision. In FAIR Co4EOS, we have these different, what we call RSAC components, research software APIs and connectors, connecting software heritage with scholarly repositories with Zenodo, DANCE with the Dataverse instance, publisher, DuckStool and EpiSciences, and aggregator SVMath, OpenAIRE, and DataCite. Today we will also see the HAL integration with software heritage, which is the origin of these connections. In FAIR Co4EOS, we are also deploy Mirror in 2025 in Greece by GRNet. Alongside with the FAIR Co4EOS, which is the implementation and making it possible, we have the FAIR Impact work, creating the research software metadata guidelines and maintaining these guidelines, and contributing to the Code Meta initiative and efforts. We also started collaborating with a new project that started this year, which is the EOS Everse project, dedicated to software as well. Now, this venture has started in 2022, and we are almost at the end of these two projects. We have, let's say, 6 months left. Here we show you some of the demos that are in beta. Some of them are also already in production. The changes are, well, we will iterate a little bit on that, but we don't have a lot of time, and we need to think ahead. And this is why some of the activities here is about thinking ahead and what will happen next. To share a little bit of the fun things that we have had was the deposit sprint in October 2023 at the INRIA Research Center. So if you go to the slides, you also see the results from this deposit sprint in the appendix. And it was great to have everyone on board and move forwards for the development, getting the user needs and not just the product features, because our users sometimes don't know how what they need and what they want. We had some testing since then, some testing in production, but most of the testing was in staging, so that's a good thing. And last but not least, we did work on documentation. So in some of the slides that you have access to, you have links to the documentation. I know that this is an effort that we need to continue doing also at Software Heritage, and not just for each one of the deposit partners. And with that, I'm going to move to the Demo Mania that is scheduled for you. And this is the exciting part. So what will happen, that will call for each one of our Demo Mania presenters to present themselves, to show one scenario and to show resulting outputs. So this was the instruction, but I trust them to show you things that are interesting. After each demo, you will have an opportunity to ask questions. I will only take one question live, so be sure to put it or in the chat or in the document. And after the segment, so here we start with the scholarly repositories. After the scholarly repositories segment, we will do the activity together. That's the plan. So with that, I'm going to move to our first demo, which is the Zenodo Software Heritage integration. I'm called Manuel to demonstrate. So I'm going to give the floor to Manuel, and you can go ahead and share your screen, Manuel. Excellent. We can see ourselves, but I think that you can then move to something else.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Good. Hello, good morning, everyone. I am Manuel. So I will present the Zenodo Invenio RDM component on behalf of the Zenodo Invenio RDM team. So let me start by giving a brief context of who we are and what we do. So on Zenodo, we are a generalist repository for scientific artifacts. We have been working to increase the support for software. And as a matter of fact, so from all the software DOIs that exist in DataCite, around 88% are managed by Zenodo. And one of the ways that we have to achieve this is through our Zenodo GitHub integration. So basically, we allow our users to deposit new releases of the software they have in GitHub and basically automatically ingest these new releases on Zenodo. So just to give you an overview of how this looks like, it's a bit what Moran showed before. So we have the record landing page. You can see the metadata of the release that we fetch from GitHub. And well, more recently, we are also now archiving this software in Software Heritage and clearly link each other, but I will demo this afterwards. Just a quick overview of how this works. So we start by first ingesting some metadata and files. So this can be either through our GitHub integration or through a manual uploads, for example. Then we store this metadata locally on Zenodo and then create the record. So we mint a DOI, we generate this DOI and manage it. And then after the record is published, we archive it, for instance, in Software Heritage. After the archival is done, so we take the suite, so the Software Heritage or Software Hash ID, and we store it locally, and then we update the Zenodo DOI metadata on DataCite as well, so that the suite enter the scholarly graph. So this is in a nutshell how it works. Let me show you a bit how it looks like for the users. So I have a repository in GitHub that I created conveniently for this demo. Basically, in this repository, I have a citation CFF file. So I am describing a bit more the software itself. In this case, who are the authors? So it's Lars and Alex, also from the Zenodo team. And then, for instance, giving a title and one keyword called archival. So afterwards, I go to my Zenodo page. So I'm on Zenodo. We have this GitHub tab here where I can manage all the repositories that I linked from GitHub. Basically, these are GitHub repositories that I own or manage somehow. And then I enabled this Software Heritage demo repository. So then going back to GitHub, I create a new release. So I'm creating this 002 release, which I have to create a tag. And then I just release this software. So the usual workflow, you have to release your software on GitHub. And then that was fast. We ingest it on Zenodo, as I said previously. And we have here this record, which I should zoom out a bit. Again, with the metadata that I defined, so the authors being Lars and Alex, and some notes that I also defined in the citation CFF file, and for instance, some keywords like archival, for instance. And yeah, basically this was ingested now. So now we have also the archival part on Software Heritage, and this one is waiting to be archived. So to avoid demo effects, even though, okay, good. There we go. So, okay, it was archived in Software Heritage. So we can go there. And we can see here the software archived in Software Heritage with the origin pointing to the DOI. So if I go here, so I end up on Zenodo, even though, as you saw, like the origin is in DOI.org, but then it gets redirected to Zenodo. So, well, that's basically it, what I wanted to demo. I have one other example. So this is like another software record that we have that we don't manage. So it's another project. and it was archived yesterday actually. And as you can see, so these records, it was also archived on Software Heritage, but you can see that we already have 81 versions of this on Zenodo. So they have been using this, and every version that they release on GitHub, it's being ingested by Zenodo. So that's it. That's my demo.
Thank you, Manuel. I'm going to open the floor for one question. If someone wants to ask Manuel, you can open your mic or put the question in the chat. If you don't have a question now, you can ask maybe on the Google Doc. Maybe one question from my side about the DataCite. Well, let's say DataCite is then harvesting, or you are pushing the metadata to DataCite. How does the relationship with DataCite goes from Zenodo?
So we are pushing to DataCite. So when we first create a record, so when it's published, so we first mint the UI, then we publish the metadata to DataCite, and any updates that the record has, we also push to DataCite to keep it updated. Okay. Because in the UI, you can also edit it manually. So you can go there and edit your record, and we update DataCite.
And the question that maybe everyone asks themselves, well, I ask myself, do you push the suite to DataCite, or is that something we're still working on, right? We're still working on.
So yeah, so this is something that we are actually deploying now. It was the last part of our work, so getting the update through. Yeah.
Excellent, thank you, Manuel. For the other questions, you can put directly in the chat or in the document, and I will move to our next demo. Thank you, Manuel. Next in line is Hal with Yannick. So Yannick, I'm going to find you in my list, and I'm going to give you the presenter role, and you can now share your screen.
Thank you. Okay. Can you see my screen? Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Yannick Barborini, and I'm head of development team of the French National Open Archive, HAL. So since 2018, we have been working with Software Heritage and INRIA to allow researchers to submit their research software in HAL, and they can decide if they want to transfer software source code to Software Heritage. After a stage of moderation and curation by a librarian, the software source code and metadata are transferred to Software Heritage, and a suite identifier is sent in return and associated with a deposit in HAL. So, unlike Manuel, I prefer to make a video to the demo. It was safer. So the scenario I'm going to present to you is a suite deposit. But the first step is to prepare the source code in a code repository. So when a researcher wants to make a suite deposit in HAL, he must first prepare his source code. So he must ensure that the files required to be accepted in HAL are present. So the author files, identify the people involved in the creation of the software, the license file, and the README file. And the README file contains at least the title and description of the software. These three files are required and will be necessary during the moderation step in HAL. Another file can be added to the source code. The source code is the code meta.json is very important because it contains the structured metadata and describing the software. It is not mandatory for the submission in HAL, but is very useful to complete the HAL submission form, as we'll see later. So the code metadata file contains a list of author and different metadata and we'll see how it's used in the HAL submission form. So when the source code is ready, we have to go to the second step on the software heritage platform to save the software source code and recover the SWID identifier. So you just have to use the Save Code Now service, and you have to enter the URL of the software source code and wait that software heritage fetch it. So, okay, just 1 second, and okay, it's okay. So now you can see in software heritage, you have the link to the SWID, the software identifier, and you have to copy this identifier. And then you can go to the submission in HAL. So concerning the deposit in HAL, once connected, we are going to make a new deposit of software. So, okay, log in, create a new deposit of software, and we just have to fill the SWID identifier. Thanks to the code meta file, we can recover all the metadata present inside and pre-fill the form deposit. So like you see, we were able to recover the abstract, the programming language, the different metadata present in the code meta file. So we have mechanism to find the affiliations of the author based on the deposit already present in HAL, and the researcher only has to check and complete the metadata in the form. So he can, for instance, add an associated publication or the name of the funder agency and the associated project. Okay. So as you can see, the submission process is simplified as much as possible for the researcher. And once the submission has been finalized, it moves on the moderation stage. And this stage is carried out by a librarian. They check the required file and ensure the quality of metadata. And once it has been put online in HAL, the metadata will be transferred to software heritage and associated with the software source code. So we can just see an example of a landing page of a software in HAL. You can see the different metadata and the link to the software heritage source code file. So, okay, I'm finished. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yannick. Do we have any questions for Yannick or for HAL? Everything was very clear, right? So this is a different scenario where the software is already in, well, it needs to be put in software heritage, and then we see it on both HAL and software heritage, and you put your metadata in that. Maybe Yannick, a question about the export formats. What kind of export formats do you propose for your users?
So we have different formats. So it's through the for software we have the CodeMeta.json format. So you can download when you submit a software in HAL, you can recover the CodeMeta.json file, and we have to improve the TEI format, XML format, because today it's not very it's not. Yes, the XML TEI format is not finished for software, so we have to improve this kind of format.
Thank you, Yannick. I'm going to thank you and move to our next demo with Vilko from DANS for this Dataverse instance integration. I just need to find you to give you the presenter role.
Hi.
Here you are. Hi.
Yes, I'm there. Hello. Well, let's share my screen later.
Yes.
We will try it now. I will try it now. It's better. So we did it before. I need an entire screen. I need this one. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm Wilco Steinhoff, and I'm working for DANS, KNAW, which is a digital archive, and we're well, mostly of research data, not software, but research data sets, and we're located in the Netherlands. DANS has multiple data stations, so those data stations are Dataverse instances, and they have some additional functionality like archiving and so on, which was more or less developed within DANS and also in cooperation with Dataverse itself. We have several data stations. We have, at the moment, I think we're 4 for social sciences and humanities, for instance, and archaeology is quite large. And there's also a life science instance, I believe. So this is all about DANS. And within the project for Vercor for EOSC, within the work package 2, we have created a deposit form, which is a data deposit form, which should be more or less a one-stop shop for researchers and also software authors and software to deposit their software, but also their relevant metadata and their related data sets at once. So therefore, we created a deposit form, which I will show you. You can see this one on my screen, I hope. So is it there? Yeah, it is there, probably. Okay, so there. I'll just do, well, a semi-demo. So I will check in and I will, or log in, and then I will just show you the form. So the author is logged in now. There is also the possibility to give some metadata. You can supply additional authors, and you could also indicate what kind of author it is. So if it's a dataset author or it's a software author. And at the moment, the deposit will distinguish between those roles by submitting the dataset authors to the Dataverse instance, and the software authors will be updated at the archive in Software Heritage. From here, you should be able to indicate the repository URL in which the software is located. There's a description, etc. You can add files as well. I can try if I can put one in. So in the end, you got your metadata and your files, and you should be able to submit them. At this moment, it's not possible because the metadata is not complete yet, but I can try to fill this one out. Let's give one example. I don't know. Anyway, so when this is done, you can actually submit your metadata, and therefore I have another tab opened in which you can see your saved and submitted forms. But the most important part here is the submitted form, and the bottom of the page, in which you could see that there's has been a deposit from the form, And as you can see on the right side, it has 3 stages or 3 levels, and those levels have also been described by the other 2 demos already, I think. The first one, it says with the green check mark, it says Software Heritage API. So what it does, the form does an archival request at the Software Heritage archive by means of the API, and therefore it retrieves or it waits for the archive to respond with the Software Heritage ID or the Software Heritage hash ID. I call it the Software Heritage ID because it needs the Software Heritage ID for step number 2. And step number 2 is submit the data related part of the form, which is the relevant metadata for data set authors, but also the data sets that have been attached to it. So it creates a data deposit. It goes to the Dataverse API, and it includes the Software Heritage ID for referencing. So in the end, the Dataverse will mint in our case, a DOI, but it could be any persistent identifier. And this one is returned back to the form, well, at least the backend of the form. And from there on, we're updating the Software Heritage archive via sort deposit, in which we are able to indicate the software authors, of course, but also the Dataverse PID, in our case, the DOI, and it does an update of the archival, which has been carried out in the first level. So in the end, we will. Let's see if I can give an example here. This is a Dataverse record, and you can see the Software Heritage ID that is included in the citation metadata together with the persistent identifier. I don't have an example for a record on Software Heritage yet, but perhaps there is. We should work on this. We should have a look at it. And well, by doing so, the complete process, I think all the goals that were mentioned earlier by Jean-François have been met. And those goals were archiving, referencing, citing, and describing. So I think that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wilco. One question about reviewing the metadata. Do you have a step for a metadata curator or reviewer after the submission, or is it directly archived?
No, it's not. Well, I believe in Software Heritage it is, but it is the repository and the sort update. So I'm not sure of Software Heritage. But for the Dataverse instance, you get it's not the data set is not published yet. So we have a curator, and it should be reviewed. And after it's being reviewed and it's being approved, then it will be published. Yes. So yes.
You have. On the Dataverse Dance instance, you have a curation step after creating the.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a we have a team working on it who does curation and publishes them or make any changes. I'm not sure, but for what I do know for sure is that it's not being published straight away. So yeah, you need approval from the organization. Yeah. Okay,
thank you. Any other questions? Because I've kind of jumped in with the question. I didn't see any question in the chat. I said one question per demonstration, but let's open. Well, actually, if to be honest, now we are at the end of the scholarly repositories segment, and normally you have an activity now, but if you have any question to the three presenters that you've seen, so for Zenodo, for HAL, or for the Dance Dataverse instance, that's the time to ask questions. So I'm going to wait 1 minute for questions. And 1 minute for questions. Or just a question about scholarly repositories or software heritage. You can ask whatever you want. And then if I see that you are not playing the game of questions, you are going to play the game of answers. So let's move to that game. Let's see if there's any questions in the Q&A first. Okay, so what I'm going to ask from you. We have 2 questions for each Demomania segment. The questions are, which colleague, either within or outside my institution, would I like to show this demo to? So one or all the demos. You don't need to write your name, that's anonymous on the Google Doc. And it will be very nice if you also add, why have I chosen this person and what are my expectations for their involvement? So why do I want to choose this particular person? Is it a developer? Is it open science program officer or open source program officer? Is it someone that I know very well? No, I don't know why you are choosing this person, but who would be, for whom this presentation would be, these demonstrations would be beneficial. I see some people have found a place in the Google Doc, but you are, let's say, around 14 people, 15, 17 viewers on my Google Doc. I know some of you that don't like Google Doc, so I will not ask from everyone to come and join, but if you can, that's the fun part, the fun work part. So please go and just think of a person, maybe not a specific person, but kind of a role to which you would like to show this presentation to, and why. I'm also going to explain why do we want you to answer this question, because we will benefit from that. You will help us help you. So even if you are infrastructures, you can answer this question with maybe another infrastructure or another researcher in your institution. If the infrastructure is in the institution, this will help us get to adopters. If the reason you are suggesting this person or this type of role is for getting these services adopted. And as Jean-François said, those are now components, and some are still in beta, some still needs some iteration on them, some are already in production, and there's always room for improvement, even years after. So we want more adopters. We want people to give us their feedback. So to who do we reach out to get this feedback, or to get them using the services? Okay, I'm going to move to the next question, even though this was the easy question. So the next question is in a table format. You can go and see the table. I'm not going to show it on the screen, but the question is, which key challenges could be tackled and how? What do I need to move forward from adopters, from software heritage, from other partners? So what so this is in terms of what's the problem, the challenge, and what do I need to move forward? So you can put it in the same box, and then the one there's a column for each one of the stakeholders here, adopters, software heritage. So it's not specific stakeholders, but what would I need to move forward in terms of as an infrastructure? So that's for you demo presenters, but not only. Now that we want to have more adopters, what do we need from adopters to get them using this service? So do something that can be written, or a challenge that can be tackled is a documentation challenge, because we keep all the documentation in our heads, right? Us developers, or not just developers, people. So that can be something that help us move forward. Maybe tutorials, maybe training sessions. What can we do to move forward? I know it's a challenging question. The challenge is answering the question, but I'm going to give you a few minutes before we move to the next Demo Mania segment, because I would love to hear and see ideas to move forward. And you will see that the questions repeat themselves in each one of the Demo Mania, but it is to keep you thinking about this and get us to the next stage. Maybe it's a sustainability plan, because my component is developed in the FAIR Portfolios project, for example, and I don't have I need to have more funding almost to get it sustained. I see that you love the first question, and the second question, nobody's going to the second question. I'm going to wait. So Maxence, we're going to wait because you are next after that, this activity. I say we were going to wait because I want to have some answers in my table. So
okay, fine. Yeah,
our table in terms of the activity.
But
I know that there are people here. We are 21 people viewing this Google Doc. So even if you don't like Google Docs and you're not here, some of you are here and can think of things that you can write in the table.
the question just after is publishers. It's not me who presents. It's
no, the next is you.
Oh, the next is me. It's not.
Do you want to change, Maxence? Do you want to?
No.
I see you have your camera on, so I'm happy you're here. But the next is aggregators. Actually, I kept the publisher for after the break.
Okay, you kept Epifine for after the break. Okay.
No, you're here. You're here. Publishers are after the break, so it's a different. Well, normally I put aggregators at the end, but I thought that aggregators were very interesting to see after the scholarly repositories because they're complementary, and the workflow of publisher is complete in another sense. So I've kept them to. I've kept them to later. So Sabrina is telling you, nice try, Maxence, and I agree. But you are next. And let's go back here because I still don't have any answer on the table. So I'm going to wait, and you are going to wait too. I'm sorry. It's kind of a mental break to think about things. So I've tried helping you in the table because I put an example about documentation, and something that we want to see and we need from Software Heritage is a better deposit documentation. This is something we are thinking about, so we will at some point have a better getting started for the deposit service. This will be helpful for deposit partners, but also for the larger community. And I'm still waiting for other ideas for what to do next to move forward. I know you only need some time to kind of relax and think about it. I'm sure you have many ideas. Another thing, the reason I'm insisting on doing the activity is that then we use this information and it helps us identify the immediate next steps and the medium-term next steps and the longer-term next steps. And we need you to move forward as well. So the vision, the SEERS vision is very clear and very thorough. We need the community's feedback to move and to create this vision. So with that, we're still on time, so everything is well. I'm going to leave you a last 2 minutes. I'm looking at the timing. Yes, I'm good in timing. In 2 minutes, we will start. So you have 2 minutes to kind of write your thoughts. And I'm going to call Maxence. You have 1 minute. 1 minute, Maxence.
Yeah, all right. But perhaps I could start sharing my screen.
Okay. Just a second. I'm going to give you the floor. Just a second.
Yeah,
Here
please.
you go. You have the floor, and we'll see the table. If people, let's wait let's wait the minute that I've promised, the last minute. Yeah, just show that, and we wait the minute together. I think the people that will watch this video later will not understand why we just sit here and wait. Okay, I see the cursors that stop moving, but don't worry, you have 2 other opportunities to give us ideas for next steps and know how to move forward. So with that, I'm going to give the floor to Maxence. Go ahead, Maxence.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Maxence Azouz-Sudorose. I'm working at SVMAT. SVMAT is so first, I'm a doctoral researcher at SVMAT. And what is SVMAT? SVMAT is a catalog of metadata. We are an aggregator of software metadata. Just to give you a bit more context, SVMAT is part of the BMAT Open, which is a wider and large web portal on the mathematics research. So indexing the world research in mathematics, all the journals, all the articles, possibly the data, holding some classification, but also software. We care about software since now more than 10 years. And today I'm about to show you the point of view of an aggregator regarding how we should care about the metadata and software. So I will take an example of a software. I just showed to Moran 1 week ago, which is mathematical software named JavaPlex. So how it's going into the SVMAT workflow? We have algorithms that identify if an article is publishing a new release of a software, a new software etc. And so if a new software is created, we will create an entry in our database and create an identity for this software. We will collect the information about the authors, which one, the article speaking about the software. So here you can see this article, JavaPlex, a research software package for persistent cohomology. And but also we will care about finding where is the source code, possible related software in the domain, and also software will be part of a big pipeline where we try to monitor in the articles which ones are citing the software. So here we identified we have 48 articles citing the software. So that's for our metadata. So regarding the source code, we have developed our pipeline to ensure that the software is archived. So here on the Staging instance, typically this software we use this source code, and we develop a pipeline where we can process with mass archival, if I can say, where we can archive iteratively. Here I just take one example. So what just the software, and here is an example of how we archived it. So we can see the status is accepted. And regarding the metadata, so this is the metadata how the user sees it. But us as an infrastructure, this is how I see my metadata. So our metadata are accessible and from a public API, which is the api.zbmat.org. And here is our software, JavaPlex. So we have the number of articles, setting the software, the authors, etc. Exactly the same thing that the user can see, but in an interoperable way. So this metadata, what we did, and my colleague Shiraz that just here made an excellent job. He built a pipeline such this metadata, which is written in the SVMAT vocabulary, can be written in the code meta vocabulary. And so a pipeline with a mix-up of Python and XSLT to at the end build a code meta XML that is compliant with the code meta requirement, but also that can be deposited on the software heritage infrastructure. So also furthermore, we have developed a pipeline to process mass archival, but also we have developed a pipeline to process mass deposit. So here is just an example of a deposit of this metadata. So this metadata are exactly the one, for the one we could select, and the one that could be translated, are exactly the one that you can find from the API. This is exactly the same content, okay? And so this is the way we deposit this metadata. So for now, and how we envision, and ZBMat envision, the people working about open science in math envision it, we want to make all this software metadata and rich information available in the context of the German Initiative for Mathematics, which is a large program. We're building a large infrastructure that has the aim to collect all the data of mathematics, including also the metadata. And let me just show you an example. So here, so this German initiative is named MARDI, Mathematical Research Data Initiative, and on the top of this infrastructure, we have settled a MediaWiki instance there. And in this MediaWiki, we have ingested all the SVMAT metadata, so 45,000 software, something like. Here's the example of how JavaPlex is looking like. So we will find again our information, the SVMAT ID, which was 8779, that you can see here, 8779 in the API, so exactly the same identifier, but also the Wikidata identifier. So it's really how we envision to expose to the user, the mathematician, how they can find the SVMAT metadata, right? And so also the source code, etc. And also the articles that are setting the software. But also we want to implement all the 4 pillars, A, R, D, C, the metadata that are deposited on code meta. We want also that they can be available to the user. So here you will find exactly the same metadata that you could see before. But also we are implementing the pillar with the letter C, which is about citing the software. And so here, it's an example of what we are currently working on, is to expose the metadata into a citing manner with the Bibliotech software package. And so the example you're seeing there is compatible with a Bibliotech software package. And this is the kind of tool we want to expose to mathematicians when they want to cite a software, is that they can just download, ideally download. For now, we just a copy paste button, if I can say, where you can access the widget to cite the software. But this is how we envision it, and to make the metadata citable for the software. So this was, and also the reference. So perhaps I didn't speak so much about, but that's important. For now, on the ZBM portal, we have the hyperlink with the hyperlink directly to software heritage, and such a user can use the suite to access to the specific identifier of the software. So here, the identifier we choose as our metadata database is not version. We're using the directory identifier. So this is why we use this one into the citing button. So I think I covered most of the work we're doing with this example. Of course, it was an example. Behind it, we are developing all our components in open source. So yes. So I'm open to any questions. I hope you were satisfied with this presentation.
Thank you, Maxence. Any questions from our group? Or should I ask the question? Are you scared, Maxence, when I say that?
It's okay, not this time.
No, that's okay. Okay. You've shown me a SPARQL endpoint, but I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot when I'm saying that. Maybe I should ask another question. I see Valentin has a question here. Your MediaWiki uses Wikibase, right?
I think so. I'm not completely sure, but I think so. It's using Wikibase. I mean, the boss of this project is, no surprise, the boss of this project is Maurice Schubat, which is our Mr. Wikipedia, and in charge of all mathematics topics related to Wikipedia, MediaWiki, etc. And so I think it's using Wikibase, but I cannot answer and promise you 100%, Valentin. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Maxence. Any other questions before I move to our second aggregator? Maybe another question about no, I'm thinking of questions that might interest the people that are here, because I know the answers to my questions actually. Let's see, maybe there's another question in
I can see Sabrina is very good at finding the right information related to our project. She's exceptionally good.
No, I agree. Every time putting links in the chat is an expertise. Okay, let's see a question about the curation, because I asked this Wilco. So the metadata that's given to SV Math is done by users, by curators. Who is providing the metadata?
So the metadata, who is providing the metadata? I'm trying to answer with the most correctness I can. It's a mix of, yeah, I mean, the question is a bit too large, so I will explain the workflow, how we curate the metadata. Some metadata can come typically directly from the article. Typically the abstract, not always, but sometimes we use the abstract of the article to describe the software. When the the administrator of our database consider it is relevant, we will use the abstract of the article to describe the software. But typically, there are also software, there are metadata that are not provided by a third party. It's our metadata. Typically, the related software is homemade. We decide on our own which is a related software. So there is not a provider of metadata for that. It's us who decide on this metadata. Typically, also the authors. The authors is not clearly stated, but the authors are exactly the same that into the ZBMath author system. I mean, ZBMath, you have the articles, you have the author, we have the list of our metadata. The authors you find for ZBMath are necessarily authors that exist in ZBMath, not the opposite way. So it's so some metadata I can say they come from ZBMath, if I can say, from the ZBMath system because they exist into ZBMath for the ZBMath metadata system. Some metadata they also come from the reviewer. Yeah, yes, if I can answer more correctly. I'm sorry to come back to ZBMath, but to understand ZBMath, it's necessary to understand what is ZBMath. ZBMath is two things. It's an indexer. We index all the journal in the world, but also a reviewer. That's very particular. So because we have people that are reviewing articles, they collect themselves the metadata or write themselves the metadata. So the ZBMath administrator will reuse part of this metadata that has been collected in the reviewing process of the article that is publishing the software. So that's the overview. It comes apart from the reviewer, from the administrator of the database of the ZBMath. Is it?
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you,
Yes.
Maxence. That was a very good explanation of SBMath and ZBMath. Thank you very much. I hope that for the rest of the people here, it was clarifying some things. Thank you, Maxence. I'm going to take the hand from you and come back to this. So you've seen SBMath, and now we're moving to OpenAIRE, but unfortunately, Seraphim and Thanasis from OpenAIRE are traveling today, so they are not with us. But I will share a very short demo video of what happens with OpenAIRE. For that, I need to share my screen. Can you confirm that you are seeing a screen of a video? Yes?
Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm going to push play, and you will tell me if there's a problem, if you don't hear anything, okay?
Hello, I am Seraphim Hadzopoulos from OpenAIRE, and I will demonstrate the beta release functionality for the integration of OpenAIRE and software heritage in the context of the work package 6 of the FAIRcore for iOS project. The main idea is that whenever we update the OpenAIRE graph, we collect software hash identifiers from software heritage and ingest them in the graph. Meanwhile, we submit save code now requests to the software heritage API when there is a missing software from software heritage. For the beta release, we have ingested a few thousand such identifiers so as to demonstrate the basic functionality. Keep in mind that not all software entities in the OpenAIRE graph have associated software IDs at this stage. So we expose software hash identifiers in the beta version of the Add the Graph portal. So if you go here and search with the keywords GitHub API, we get the relevant research products, but we want to specifically search for research software and deselect the predefined option for open access. So here we can see that the first software has a software hash identifier, and also this one, that is also visible in the details of this software. We can follow this link to go to the relevant snapshot in the software heritage website. There is also a basic functionality to cite this specific software. So you can go here to cite, select the citation style. Let's say we select BibTeX, and we get the relevant BibTeX code to cite this specific software. Of course, if we enrich the metadata of this software, there will be more details here in this snippet. We can also search with a specific software hash identifier. So if you go here and paste the snapshot ID, we deselect open access again, we get as a result this specific software. The same functionality is also available through our API. So if you go here to the API beta OpenAIRE EU, you can search with a specific ID, in this case, an OpenAIRE ID. But here you can see that we have associated to this software a persistent identifier coming from software heritage with this specific value. So we also expose software hash identifiers through our API. With that being said, this is the functionality that we support for the beta release of the integration of OpenAIRE with software heritage. Thank you.
And that's for OpenAIRE. We don't have OpenAIRE with us to think and to also ask questions. So if you have questions, this is the time to write those questions somewhere. My question may be for Zenodo and the integration between Zenodo and OpenAIRE, because I know that OpenAIRE is harvesting Zenodo. Well, maybe I can ask, say, Manuel, are you still around to answer some questions? Answer my question.
Yes.
How does it work? The harvesting of OpenAIRE of Zenodo. Do you know, or are you maybe not aware of that?
Yeah. So actually, we also publish to OpenAIRE, but not publish, but we update OpenAIRE with the information when a record is either created or updated.
So you push to OpenAIRE. They're not coming to get from you. You push directly to them.
I mean, they also harvest, but the initial push for the record is ours. Okay,
good. Excellent. Thank you for that. And so the fact that they have your records, they will now have also the links with the SWID, with the SWID property, right?
Yes, because we also do for the data side. So we also do OpenAIRE the same way.
Excellent. Thank you, Manuel, for clarifying. Any other question for OpenAIRE that if we don't have an answer to, we will get them later? And if not, the fun part of the activity is just with our break, because we have a break in 2 minutes. So you have 2 minutes to answer question 1 while I'm talking and answer question 2 while I kind of push you to answer those questions. So again, question 1, which colleague, either within or outside my institution, would I like to show this demo to? Why have I chose this person, and what are my expectations for their involvement? It can be someone also in a project. For example, I would like to show that to a task lead or work package lead or anything, or any person that might be interested because it's relevant to their work. For example, SV Math, aggregating all this information about articles and about the citation in articles can be very interesting to our SOFAIR partners. I don't know if we have, I think we have one SOFAIR partner here, but this would be a good person to list as a colleague I would like to share this demo with. For example, I'm sharing with you. And the second question, again, the table, which key challenges could be tackled and how? What do I need to move forward from adapters, from software heritage, from other partners? So we're not identifying the challenges, we're trying to identify the steps to move forward to solve these challenges. So I'm going to, I know that Sabrina has put again the link to the notes, and I'm going to ask you to go there. I already see answers, so thank you very much for answering, and thank you for all the demos from this part, from the aggregators. And I'm very happy to see this also moving forward with links to software heritage using the SWID. And I'm going to give you the break as well, because we're a bit late in terms of time, because normally at 10:50 there's a 10 minutes break, and we are coming back at 11 for our last Demomania. So the next part of this workshop is the publishers at 11, and then we will reflect on the CIRS report realization with a very fun activity. I love this activity. It's Sabrina's idea, and I really enjoy discovering it. So with that, I'm going to mute myself and close my my camera, stop the recording. We will take back the recording at 11. So you're free to take yourself a short break, and we start again at 11. Thank you. That we restart the recording. Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you are here with coffee or not, because I managed to do to fetch some coffee during this 10 minutes break. I hope that some have completed the activity for the aggregators, and I see that no, you preferred your coffee break. So I hope that you will give them some input after during the last part. And with that, we are continuing with our publishers, and we have Raphael with us from Episciences. So please, Raphael, the floor is yours, but not yet, because I didn't give you any powers over the tool. But now you can share your screen.
Okay.
So normally it's yeah, okay, good.
Do you see my screen? That's okay. Yeah.
I see your screen. I see your full screen with us,
Okay.
and now I can see. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Great. Thank you. So hello everyone. I'm Raphael Tournois. I'm the platform manager for Episciences. Episciences is a platform to publish overlay journals. So we're connected, for instance, with HAL, Archive, Zenodo, and several open repositories. So today the demo is to show you how we can create a link between an article and the software with a SWID. So this is an example of an article. It is a sandbox, but it's a real article. So if we go on the management page of the article here, you can see that we can create a relationship between the publication and the software. So I will select the type software, select type of relation. So let's go for this. Now I can go to software heritage and copy the identifier. So it should be quite easy to paste it, save. So now we have added the relationship. So you can see that you can browse the software in the context of software heritage. So this is really useful for the reviewers of the article, of course, and also for the readers when the article is published. So in this case, the article was already published. So if we refresh the page, the UI, so now you can see in the context of the public interface, you can browse also the software and see the new relationship that has been built thanks to the duration of the software heritage widget. with an iframe. And we can also create links with software that is available on HAL, for instance. So I can copy the HAL identifier. If I go back to the web page, I can create a new relationship. Also with a software. So if I paste it, usually it should work. But the API is a bit slow today. Okay, so it's been added again. So now we have a new relationship that has been added thanks to the integration with HAL. So just pasted the HAL identifier and then it creates a new relationship. So if we go back on the public page of the article, if I refresh the page, now we have this new relationship that has been added thanks to the integration with the HAL identifier. And we can also ingest software for Epsciences. So this is an example of software that has been submitted to a platform. It's a sandbox also, but you can see that you have the description of the software. This is coming from HAL. This is the HAL identifier here. And of course, we are retrieving the relationship that is described on HAL with the software heritage, the suite. So if we go on the web page of HAL, you can see the description of the software and the suite. So it's been ingested into Epsciences. It's also a feature. And if we look at the metadata, I think it's here. Yes, we are creating also a relationship when we declare DOI to Crossweb. So each article is published article for Epsciences as a DOI, so it's being declared to Crossweb. And within the metadata, we're creating also the relationship. So now the problem is that we only can qualify the identifier type as over, but hopefully sometime we can have some identifier type like suite to be better. So this is the suite that is being added to the publication. And that's okay for me for the demo.
Thank you very much, Raphael. And I see already a thing that we can add in the table as a next step to move forward from DataCite to change the type of the relation link. So this is something that I need to put in the table later on when we will do the activity. Thank you very much for sharing and showing also this beautiful iframe. I always want to see it. I want to see it everywhere, and I try to push it to all the infrastructures. And Epsciences has done well. You, Raphael, you have done a great job integrating the iframe, and it really looks nice. Any questions in the? So I see Sabrina has added a lot of links for your for all the nice examples. Do we have any questions from the audience? And maybe my question, and I should have asked that from every infrastructure, but now that I've taken a sip of coffee, I can ask this question. What would you need from Software Heritage? What would be the next step that you would like to ask us to do, or you need to improve your this relation in the record? Is there something that we can do for you?
Actually, it works, so it's really nice, but something more like in the field of outreach, for instance, because I believe that researchers need more to be more aware of the features available on Software Heritage, and even the suite is something that it needs to be more popular among the researchers. So definitely some kind of outreach, yes.
Excellent, thank you, Raphael. I think that's a good idea also to put in the table as a next step, getting more, kind of disseminating more the suite so that it can be adopted and would be easier to use. As you saw in this example, you need the SWID. The SWID is kind of central, so you can use HAL as well. But yes, thank you, Raphael. Next in line is our Dagstuhl friends, Saadet and Michael. So Saadet, should I start with you presenting with the sharing the screen? Okay, I'm going to give you some control powers. Here you go. And then let me know when you need me to change the power. Yeah, good. You can start. Thank you.
Okay. Give me a second. So now you can see my presentation, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, thank you for the to being here now and for the presentation. I'm Saadet Bozaki from Schloss Dagstuhl, and I'm here with Michael Didas. He is our senior developer at Dagstuhl Publishing. And today we will look at fair supplementary materials, such as software from a publisher perspective. And we also create use case scenario, which we will have in our bind bag. So as a researcher, I want to submit supplementary materials such as software, which is automatically import metadata from GitHub repository and synchronize them directly with my publication so that my research outputs are accurately integrated and easily accessible. So this use case scenario should help us to provide an example to explore and understand the services we are offering. So yeah, let's dive in. Okay, before we start, who we are. As Dagstuhl Publishing, we are a part of Schloss Dagstuhl Leibniz Center for Informatics. Our role focuses on archiving and sharing scientific work, particularly in the area of computer science. Our mission at Schloss Dagstuhl is to support the computer science community by providing connection and ensuring the exchange of knowledge. We host for that some kind of seminars in this field. We create spaces where top researchers can collaborate with each other. Our services are, we have two services. DBLP is is an open indexing and research engine that covers an extensive collection of computer science publication. And as Dagstuhl Publishing, we provide free access to high quality publication in computer science. Today, we will just look at the publishing part. And we offer for that two main services. Drops is our publishing service and DSUB is our submission server. We now both including the supplementary materials, the software which is related to the paper. During the submission, the software is archived at Software Heritage for the long-term preservation. And in Drops, this archived software is accessible via Software Heritage iframe. You will see that in a few seconds. And the publishing team also reviews the metadata and also the PDF and also the software to ensure accurate referencing. After the author approve, the metadata is uploaded to Drops and complete data sets are assigned and transferred to Software Heritage. On the right side, you can see the picture from our submission server. Today, I just provide the screenshots of the submission server, and you will see the Drops as a live demo. Here we have a new panel where you can see the supplementary materials. When you click on the form for supplementary materials, oh, yeah, I just forget to say how is the archiving working. If the author has not yet archived the software, we offer them the opportunity to do that. So the first example we have here, we have a software with the GitHub link, and this is already have the Software Heritage ID. But if this is not the case, you can give us the you can say, yes, I want to archive the software, and we are going to do that for the authors. And if you click on the panel, you will see the metadata form. For that, you can give us the GitHub link, and lots of the informations from the form are getting already fetched from GitHub. So we will see the classification, the software, we can see the creation date, the description, we will see the programming language. So lots of these information are already get fetched from GitHub. And yeah, and also the author can give us some information about the fundings of the software. And the minimum metadata we need is the GitHub link and the classification as from a DataCite vocabulary. So it's the software, and this is a free text where you can write like something like a source code. And now we are switching to the demo part from our drop system. Just give me a second so I can see my screen.
I just
I
moved
just stopped it completely. I'm sorry. Can you just give me again the right
Oh,
for sharing the screen?
sorry. I was too quick. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead. You need to do it again. So you need to share your screen.
Yes, just a few seconds and I will be finishing my presentation. Okay,
No, don't
now
worry.
you see how the presentation is looking like. So this is our drop system, our publication server. This is a live example. So you can see the PDF document. If you click on it, you will see the supplementary materials is included in the first page. And you can see the software heritage ID. And if you click on the 9 here on the right side, we will go to the references. And we can see that the software is also have a citation in the paper. And how is that looking in drops? You can see here the supplementary materials is included. And if we click on this, we will see the iframe or software heritage, where you can see the archived software. And now I will switch about, now we will see this is a kind of, in a few weeks, we will change a few things. So I'm going to switch to our development area. So now you will see we will add some kind of icons. I think it's look a little bit more better than what we have now. So this will be available in a few weeks. So it's still the same. You will see the iframe. And now you can also see at 9 the same iCraft version. So here's also the iframe included. And what is also coming new in a few weeks, we have a new area which is called artifacts. So if you will click on this, you will now see all the software we are already, they give us the allowance to publish the software, which is related to the paper. So there will be a page where you can see all the software. So let's remember the example we have here, and we can find now to this example the software we have. So here you can also see the GitHub link and the archived version, so the iframe to the software. Yeah, so that's it from us.
Thank you, Saadet. Thank you very much. Should I move to I'm kind of lost in terms of Mika, are you presenting something? No, you're not.
No,
you're not okay, good.
Yeah, he's here for.
I'm sorry, very sorry about that. I understood.
Yeah, he's here for helping us.
If there are questions, I can.
Excellent.
Help to answer them.
Thank you both for being here and presenting and showing again this magnificent iframe. I like that. I like seeing the iframe. As I said with Raphael, your publishers they go with it. So I'm very happy to see that. Also to say that we have other 2 publishers that are not presenting today that are already in production, and deposit partners eLife and iPol, so that you will know that they have that they are archiving software and pushing stuff to us. A question, what can I say? Do we have a question from the crowd? And maybe a question from my side would be the same that I've asked Raphael. What would you need next from Software Heritage? What would be your kind of request? Not sure we can provide everything, but what would you need next?
Yeah, maybe as we plan to deposit metadata to Software Heritage next, we would be interested in how that metadata is propagated or shown in Software Heritage. So are there any plans, or is there do you have a clear picture of how the metadata will show up on Software Heritage?
Thank you for the question. We have an API endpoint, so actually it's not shown in terms of for the end user. For the infrastructure, you have the deposit administrator platform where you see what you have given. But from a user perspective, this metadata for now is still in our metadata storage and is not directly available as a view. So this is something that we are working on and we want to have as a view, but it's a complex question for us because we have metadata from different sources. So we will have the metadata from you, the deposit partners, but we have also metadata that is maybe on the GitHub repository from the Forge itself. We might have metadata, intrinsic metadata that we do look for and index. So there's a lot of different types of metadata that we can expose. And for now, we don't have yet a clear idea of where and how to expose it. We focus on archiving the source code, and we try to do this one task well. And then for the metadata, we do keep it, so we do store it, and we will use it for search, for the search engine. We do want to have an exposure with the metadata view, but it's a complicated thing to show. So, but yes, it will happen, but we don't have a clear view how it will happen in terms of where it will be viewed. And there is the API endpoint where user, but kind of not a regular user can fetch this metadata. I see Maxence has his hand raised. Is it for a question?
Yes, it is for a question from my side. You can also see me like this. How many? It's more generic question about Dagstuhl. Do you know how many software you identify in your publication? I mean, what is your? We speak about hundreds of software, dozens of thousands. I mean, do you have perhaps some number like that in mind? Because typically, I'm interested. It was an idea of Maurice, I think, to see if we have a common subset together of software between Dagstuhl and SVMath. It's not impossible because perhaps you have software covering a bit the area of math, and we have certainly we collect a lot of software about applied mathematics, also in the area of computer science. So perhaps there are some. Would be interesting to have typically some metadata comparison, this kind of thing. So especially when we think about the future metadata interface in Software Heritage that Moran was just speaking about, it would be. I mean, do you have this kind of number?
Yeah, in terms of numbers, we are a small publisher. So we have an output of 1,500 papers a year, I would say. And we started collecting metadata from authors at the beginning of this year. And we have about 100 software publications that we are preparing to make visible with the launch of the new system.
Okay, and what about articles? Because I think the question was more about finding articles we could have in common. How many articles you have in Dagstuhl? But perhaps it's not the best place to speak about it. But
well, the total number is about 21,000 articles.
1,000 articles. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can further speak about it later. I mean, we it's a discussion that I shortly initiated with Sadet when she was in Berlin with me for the FAIRCORE for Years project meeting. So, but we can go forward on this discussion later, Sadet. I'm not holding the ground for longer.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So for the question, for the demo, for everything, it's very nice to see this moving forward with Dagstuhl. So thank you for showing that to us. And we will discuss later the deposit part. So whenever you want and ready to do some more about the metadata for the deposit part. Now I'm taking back the hand because I kept it with Saadet. I'm going to take back the presenter hand and move to you, the audience, but also you, the partners, because partners are invited to, of course, not just invited, are kind of pushed to do some activities. We are now on the Demomania publishers, but the one with the aggregators is quite empty. So please go to those activities. There's 2 places where you can say which colleague, either within or outside my institution or my organization or my infrastructure, would I like to show this demo to? Why have I chosen this person, and what are my expectations for their involvement? That's the first question. And the second, that you already know by heart, is, that's interesting. I didn't know that happens. Okay, sorry. BBB is kind of surprising me. The second, which key challenges could be tackled and how? What do I need to move forward from adopters, from Software Heritage, from other partners? And I've already inserted the things that we've just said during this segment. So I'm going to keep that in mind for my next workshop, to start with the questions in the demos. You have 5 minutes here to do the activity, and then we will move to the fun part, reflecting on the CS report. And I see that we have some CS report writers, one with us here from Dagstuhl, Michael Wagner, but we also have others in the room. I saw that. So don't think I'm not spotting you there. So please reflect. We are waiting for you for some reflections in the last part of the workshop. So I'm going to give you these 5 minutes to write up your answers, which are helping us. So help me, help you, help us, help you. And I'm going to mute myself because I know you can't think when I'm talking. I'm going to give you 2 minutes because I see some activity in the document and I'm very happy to see that. So you have 2 minutes more to complete your sentences and we will move forward. I'm also going to say that in the aggregators table is quite sad and alone because nobody came to tend for it. So if you have any items for Maxence and for Serif, so for Thanasis from OpenAIRE, that would be great to give us something to move forward. Maybe even you, Maxence, can enter something to move forward. What do you need from your adopters, from Software Heritage, or from other partners, maybe in relation with your case study? I'm not saying that you need to answer that live, but if you have ideas to kind of capture in your table, that would be in your table. In the aggregators table, that would be nice. You have 1 minute left, and we will see the boat. There's a boat next. Okay, so the minute is up. It was a short minute because it changed rapidly on my screen. I'm going to show you the boat. Maybe you've already seen it on the document because it's also in the document. And how will we reflect on the CS report realization? So there was very, very nice things there. Oh, Miguel is leaving us, and I was looking forward to exchanging with Miguel Colón as well about the CS report realization. But it's good you were with us until now. Thank you very much. There are different ways where we can assess the realization of the report. But since we're in a workshop and we don't have a lot of time, and it's more of where do we see the boat going? So we had, and I want to thank again Jean-François sharing the story, the vision from the start. We're on this journey. It's a long journey. We're now in 2024, and we have maybe years ahead for this vision. Hopefully, we will see things being realized sooner than later. But where do you feel you are as an infrastructure or as a researcher or as an institution personnel? Where are you? So I'm going to read the activity. The boat represents the journey of the CS vision. Okay, so getting an interconnected scholarly infrastructure for research software, acknowledging research software as a first-class output, archiving, referencing, citing, and describing software. So using the different situations on this image depicted in the drawing by Mathilde Rioux and Vincent Chailloux, tell us more about where you are now and what are your plans. So which actor do you feel like? You can choose one or more and kind of describe. So the question in the table, you need to go to the table. You don't have to copy the image. You can just put the number of the situation. So here for one, for the observer from afar, the one that thinks of his resort and the island, the one that sleeps at 7. So you just pick a number. You put yourself in the table. I don't see you in the table, so please go to the table on the Google Doc. And there you choose you choose a person, choose where are we now? Where are you feeling right now with the CS vision? So it can be about yourself as an infrastructure, as an institutional researcher, etc., or about the CS vision in itself. So you can tell us then, why did you select the situation? What does it tell about your project? It can illustrate a past situation. So you can say that in the past I was drowning with 20 here, and now I just got into the boat. Okay. As well. Then it can be a present situation, and you can also say, where do you want to be, like a future, or where do you want, which kind of situation would you wish for you to be in this Cirrus Vision boat. Now, after you choose a situation, and I see already 2 people choosing situation, and I thank them for starting this activity, because I know it can be hard to pick the situation that you are you feel that's the best case for you. And the next column is what could be the next steps for this given situation. So again, I'm going to say about the drowning one, how can this drowning 20 actor, how would we save him from drowning? So what would be the next steps for this situation? Well, that will help us, again, help you, but help also realize the Cirrus Vision that we are very attached to and want to move forward. So with that, I'm going to give you a few minutes to choose. And if someone is brave enough and don't mind being recorded on camera to tell us the situation that they've chosen and where do they see themselves now and in the future, or just share thoughts about this journey, I would be very happy to hear about that. Giving you 4 minutes. You have until 11:40 to finalize that, and then we'll see if we can open up the discussion with people live. Okay, you've got your 4 minutes, and I'm quite surprised and amazed how you have engaged with this activity. The other ones, you've left me a little bit alone, but this one seems really to touch some emotional, successful part. So I'm very happy to see the table coming into place, and even seems like a great idea that Sabrina has just shared with me to do a blog post with all these thoughts and things. And I have a sun behind me that that's a good moment to have the sun kind of shine. Interesting, yes, very 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 interesting effect. So is anyone up to the challenge to kind of share their choice live? Again, it's recorded, so I'm not going to push anyone to do it, but if you are already here and you want to share what you have inserted here.
I
go
can
ahead.
speak. I can speak if no one is speaking. I'm sorry if I could not feel so much into the next key challenges to tackle, because I don't see any more specific challenges beyond the one we have to do. I mean, so I felt some lack of inspiration too for the question number 2. So because it's not so easy. I mean, I think we are good on our own on where we want to go. So now I'm about to speak about the image. I think we are in a good. We know where we're going. I mean, this is why I selected the number 10 because we know what we're implementing, right? We know the direction and how we implement it. So I think I'm pretty confident now. We are definitely very closer from the production side than from the beta side, if I can say. So this is why I see myself enjoying a nice hammock in 6 months and decided for the position 7. But perhaps it's a very selfish choice. I don't know. Perhaps I should be more the number 9 and helping people facing difficulties. But I would definitely enjoy the position 7. It looks pretty nice as well. So say now.
I don't think it's a selfish a selfish choice. I think it's a realistic one in terms of at some point we want to also rest so other people can take the lead and see that the vision is happening while we are resting ashore and the boat is not crashing into an island. So I do like your input, Maxence. Thank you very much. Anybody else want to share? I'm really curious. So if someone else wants to kind of come and join and say something, this would be very useful. Michael, we can't hear you. I think that you are unmuted, but I think maybe there's a setting thing that will. Yes, but I will be very happy to hear you.
You can hear me now?
Yes. Now, yes. Thank you.
Perfect.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Michael Wagner also from Schloss Dachstuhl, and I'm one of the authors of the CS report. So what I can say is we have seen that very much from the technical point of view has been implemented as it has been suggested in the CS report. So we're really interesting to see all the different implementations here, but where are still some open issues is actually we have now to convince that the authors, so the end users actually of our products, that they're really using our infrastructures. So it's actually not a technical point, it's rather a soft issue that we have to provide guidelines, good examples to convince authors, but also researchers to use really all these technically options that we have now to cite really software and to use it. And then on the long term, we also have to convince other publishers and other infrastructures also to adapt these workflows. Because now we are a small, really small example that it is working somehow, but it is a long journey to convince, especially the big publishers, to do something similar. So I think we are on a good way, but there's still a lot of new challenges waiting for us.
Thank you very much. I agree. We have a lot of challenges, and getting the adopters, the people to use this is crucial, because if they are not using it, then we don't need to maintain it. Sustainability then is a mess. So I go with you, and now we have this big challenge of getting more people to use this amazing vision and implementations. I see that.
Hi, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Brilliant.
we can hear you now. Yes.
Yeah, I just to echo what Michael said just there about the big publishers, because I mean, I'm at Europe PMC now, but I was at eLife and part of the setup of linking between software heritage, and I do think that if we could get the big publishers engaged in this, I think that would make a massive difference, because they do help push authors. I mean, I think having your it took me a long time to get my head around it. The fact that, well, my code's open and it's on GitHub is not enough, and it needs to be archived properly. And I think another issue that we have, though, with the big publishers is the DOI obsession. And I think that's, sorry to say that, but it's something I'm really, really noticing everywhere, especially within the data at EMBL-EBI. And this is going to be a really hard battle to fight, I think. So yeah, that's, but I, you know, I feel positive. Like I've put in a few entries. I wasn't drowning anymore in you know, 20. I think we know where we're going and we know where we should look, and events like this are really good to show the integrations that people have done, so that there can be more learned from it. But I do think that trying to get big publishers involved, and also funders, because it's becoming clearer and clearer that funders are driving the agenda as much as, so if we could get the funders of research outputs to be engaged in software heritage, I think that would go a long way. Thank you. Keep up the good work, Moran.
Thank you, Melissa. And I really appreciate you coming in and also saying that, because I agree that a few years back we felt like we were drowning, not because we were drowning, because there was no boat. So now there is a boat. And I do feel positive, as you said, and getting funders into that boat, maybe getting us a bigger boat, would be a good way forward. Anyone else want to share their take on this before we end our morning together? That was a long morning. It was very enjoyable. I liked it a lot, but we have a few minutes left. So if someone else wants to jump in and share their take on the boat, maybe with another situation here. Don't be shy. Yes, Mike. I can't hear you. Are you trying to? I see your hand raised.
Trying to get it to connect
Okay.
the audio.
Good. Now you found it. Yes, thank you.
One of the problems with the CIRS report, and a lot of what is being talked about here, is how far the information is percolating out to various communities and research infrastructures. There are examples out there which, without doubt, they think they're doing a good job simply by making sure it's on GitHub. And even that is quite advanced for some of these communities, even though they are producing software, even though they are producing materials that are valuable to others. It is still difficult to get them to consider more long-term preservation. It's a long journey for quite a few, and it needs much more communication, much more help and advice to get some of these on board.
Thank you, Mike. I agree that we need to get them on board, and we need more. And it's a difficult, challenging task. And my take is that we are in a good direction, even though the world is large. There are many disciplines, many communities. We are a small group, not just Software Heritage, but this community that we have around Software Heritage and around the different EOSC project. Even in EOSC, it was difficult to keep research software as there was a task force, and now we just opened an opportunity area expert group, which was challenging. So I agree that we need to continue this outreach activity and communication towards as much as different communities as we can. Thank you for saying that. I see, Maxence, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, just a little word regarding the number I selected. I didn't select the. Finally, perhaps I could select the number 9 and jump in the water to save someone. I mean, I'm now in touch with people of NFDI.software, people in Germany holding a program for a research software marketplace in Germany. I hope I can contaminate them severely with the ideas of the CS report. That's something to push in the minds and ideas, like archiving software, provide a user with identifiers. But I will take my time, you know.
Thank you, Maxence. That's a good way to push those ideas forward. And you didn't introduce that when you introduced yourself, but Maxence is also a Software Heritage ambassador. And we have this ambassador program where we have a lot of people from academia to spread this the word. And I hope that there are our allies in that endeavor to get more communities involved in the CRS revision and the archiving, referencing, citing and describing software.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was making my job as an ambassador last week at the NFDI at this conference of NFDI, speaking about what is software heritage. So a lot of people were very interested. They didn't know it exists, so I just explained how the service is working. So they were very interested and triggered for some of them. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you, Maxence. And with that, normally we get to the conclusion part. If you have anything else to say, you can write it down in our table. And I will move to the conclusion, and to keep you not to keep you too long. I would love for you to share one or more key takeaway from this workshop. It can be from the last activity, but it can be from one of the demonstrations. It can be something about the future. It can be something about the past, or from the workshop itself. You name it. There is a place just after the table in the Google Doc. This is not as important as the activity before, so I'm not going to give you time. So you take your time if you want, even after this session. Before we leave here, I want to invite you all to an event that is happening in The Hague, in the Netherlands, on the 2021 of February, just after the International Data Creation Conference. I think that's the acronym, IDCC. So just after that, there's the Fair Fest, where the two projects are coming together, Fair Impact and Fair Call for EOSC, to celebrate advancement in fair solution for EOSC. I'm negotiating a stand there for research software with all the research software things. So that's something to disseminate. So people that are interested in fair and those types of events can come. I'm not expecting everyone to come from our side in terms of deposit partners, but I will be there. I'm going to move back to the slide before because I see nobody used that. So I don't give you time and nobody does the activity. Please share your takeaway message. So I'm going to, it's maybe hard because there's only one, yeah, okay. People, yeah, go ahead, put even below, after, you can just do something and you, just one key takeaway. We have 4 minutes left, right? Because I said that the conclusion will be at midday, but I'm going to give you some time back. So I'm going to get you out of this room at midday, so at noon, and you have 4 minutes left. And I only need to thank everyone, unless someone wants to share something live. And I will do that, but please share your takeaway, because it's really something that I would love to read as well. Yes, when I give time, people do the activity, so I need to give time. And with the aggregators, we didn't have time because there was the break. So that's again, we didn't have enough answers. We need to give the time. Thank you for those who are on the document and are doing the activity. If you don't want to go to the document, or you just want to, you can also write in the chat. We will copy it to the Google Doc. I'm going to give another minute. The last final minute. And I'm going to start and thank people, because there's a lot of people behind this workshop, not just because of the workshop, but all the implementation work. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I want to thank first you guys for joining, because it's good to have people in this type of workshops to converse. I want to thank the demo presenters. So Manuel, Yannick, Wilco, Maxence, Seraphim, Raphael, Saadet, and Michael. I want to thank you all for doing the demonstration here. But behind the scenes, there are other developers, implementers, project managers of all of these infrastructures that are very present, and I want to thank them as well, not naming them. I want to thank the Software Heritage team who came and are here. So you don't see them because they are not, maybe sometimes they have a SWH, but not always. But I want to thank them for being here and for developing all of the feature on our backend, for the deposit service, for the web app, for the metadata, for the iframe. So all of these are the Software Heritage team. So thank you, the Software Heritage team. And I wanted to do a special thanks to Sabrina Granger, who is here very active in the chat, also helped me prepare the workshop and the activity that you had today. And of course, Jean-François Abramatic, who joined us and opened up this conversation for the beginning of our session. Thank you very much, Jean-François. It was a pleasure having you with us.
Yeah, you're welcome. And to the whole group, to all the participants, keep up the good work. I was very impressed. I'm very thankful for all the efforts that are going on, and I'm very optimistic on the next outcomes. I mean, you guys are doing a great job, and I'm looking forward for the next steps, and I'm sure they will be as much surprising as this one was for somebody like me who has been on the sideways for a moment. So keep up the good work, great workshop, and I'm looking forward for the future.
Thank you, Jean-François. Thank you, everyone. With that, we can end the recording and have a bon appétit.